Stacy and welcome to my channel. I hope you guys stay a while. Today I'm here for Saturday Morning Makes, hosted by Jill Norwood. Hi Jill if you're watching. We are going to color up these images from their little digis from LOTV, Lily of the Valley stamps. I believe the stamp set is called Fluffy Bunny. I'm going to be coloring these today with Copics. I know, big surprise. If you've been here before, you know that's my jam. That's what I love. And then we're going to be using colored pencils with gambol for shading. Last week I shared these bunnies, one of these bunnies, and I colored it with Copics and shaded with a black Prismacolor Premier pencil with gambol, and this time I've done that but with a little twist. We don't have a black colored pencil, but I'm going to show you ways to add depth, or if you don't have as many alcohol markers, whether you're using Copics or you're using Ohuhu or what are the new ones called? They'll come to me later. I can't remember the name right now, but they're the new ones that everyone are using, which I want to get because it does not have a sponge core. My mind's gone blank, but some people use Spectrum Noir or Prismacolor or Winsor Newton, and you know, when you buy these alcohol markers, they can be really expensive. So I want to show you a twist if you don't have all the colors I'm using even right now. You would just have to use the lightest of these markers and to get a very similar effect, and then use the colored pencils on top of them. And then here I start coloring in these flowers, and I started with my darkest like I normally do, and I decided that's not what I want to do, but no big. I just used the lighter R marker over it, and I'm just going in, and I thought, I'm not sure how many colors I want to have in these flowers because there's so many different ones. I still want to keep the numbers of colors minimal. I don't want to have too many. Sometimes I think that can take away from a card or be too distracting on the eye. A neutral and maybe 3 colors is what I like to go with. And I had some pattern paper that you'll see, and I do use pattern paper, but I also was going to use a little bit of the other, so I was using that as my lead for what colors I wanted to color these flowers. And I'm basically just spacing out, trying to get little clusters and grouping in the colors, you know, in a visual triangle all over the card. So that's why I started with the leaves, and then I went back and started with the roses, and then went back and started with the leaves and mapping them out. Hopefully I explained that okay. And I'm using really desaturated colors. As you can see, a lot of those colors have zeros after them because we are going to go back in with those colored pencils. And then I realized as I was coloring it that there was more of the bunny's head peeking through the flowers, and so I went back and darkened it up with my darkest marker. And there I'm using some Derwent colored pencils. I found them in my stash. You guys, I don't know how. I think I got them from my mother-in-law. And there's just a grouping of like these neutral colors that I've got. And so I couldn't tell you which ones they are. They just say Derwent Drawing. Oh my goodness, I love them. I may have to get me some Derwent colored pencils. They're very pigmented. Could just be these colors, but I may get a few more just to play around with. So what I'm doing is I'm going in with, I believe that one is more, I think that's sepia. So that's sepia, and I sharpened my pencils first. I wanted a nice sharp tip, and I just went to those darkest shadows, and I went in with my sepia because it has some red undertones in it. And I laid that down, and then I'm going in with my gambol, and I'm using a blending stump. And I made sure that I took that blending stump and filed it down. I used a nail file. You can use sandpaper, and they actually have sanding stumps or blending stump type papers that you could use, that you could buy in your art department. But you could get sandpaper at your hardware store. You may have it around your house. You may have a nail file. I just use what I have. It's the same thing. And I'm going around and I'm just laying it down. I'm using my blending stump. I have some gambol in that little container with a cotton ball, and so I dip it in there and then spread it out, and then I went through all my shadows, blended that out, and now I'm going in with the Derwent drawing pencil in chocolate, so it's a darker brown, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing but blend it out. But I'm not going to blend it out quite as far as I did the sepia, because I still want there to be different definitions. So I want the red undertones, which these pencils are transparent, and when I take that chocolate and go over it, that red undertone from the sepia will still come through, but the darker brown will cover it up a bit, but it'll still shine through. You hear the colored pencils? I had to look at the names. And then here, these are Prismacolor Premier pencils, and you'll see that at each of the beginning I put a different color up. And you could go in with your browns and do it like I did with the black pencil. Last time I was going to go in with all purples on the flowers, but I decided to kind of not do that. You'll see. So I went with purple with the purples, and I went with what it's called, I think, dark purple on the light pink colors. But it has, if you can see that it has like a violet pink undertone, so that helps pick that up. And I'm just putting a little bit down and I'm going back in and spreading out. Now blue, I love it with green, so that's what I'm shading with. And it's not going to look blue. It's going to look more of a deeper bluish green. And I'm using the stump and with the Gamsol, and I'm just blending it out. Same thing. But I'm only putting small amounts of those colored pencils on these flowers because they're such small images. And I will go back if I need to. And there honestly doesn't need to be a lot. We're going to really, when we look at this image, or at least when I look at it, what I'm seeing are those colors more than the definition of the flowers. The bunny is what I notice more. It's a larger image, the flowers are small, you're not going to see all the detail. So I'm just adding some pops of color in there. And then I went in with that Derwent pencil on the yellow and orange colored flowers and blend them out. Don't pay attention to the dies because I didn't end up using that piece, and you'll see why. What I'm doing right here is I picked out some pattern paper and I got out my Sandy Allnock hex chart, and I'm matching up as closely as I can the color of that background paper that I decided to use with the butterflies on it. And I had fussy cut this image off camera, but I left the grounding and a little bit above that line that was drawn in under the bunny too, so that the outline of the image has those same amount of thickness around, if that makes sense. And then I'm coloring in all those. And here's where I realized my mistake. The entire background's not that blue color. So if you wanted to, you could use that other pattern paper and just in those areas go over and add that pink color. Find a marker that matches it and do that. I decided not to. I kind of liked it better without it anyway. I think it allowed the flowers to pop forward more versus the pattern paper. Here I lined it with some foam tape, and then I'm popping it up here on my card panel. And I'm not done. I liked that pink pattern paper with the beautiful flowers on it, and so I decided to bring it in, and I'm used the Sentiment is a CC's design stamp set. It's a little Valentine Cupid. I think it's on clearance right now in their store. It may be gone. And then I'm going to trim this down and I'm going to turn it into a flag. So I brought out I don't know what kind of ruler this is, but it starts at 0 and has 6 inches on each side that are even. And then I just centered it up, went up as high as I wanted that flag to be, and drew a line. And then I met up from the corner to that line, and then from the other corner, and it'll end up being even for you. I got these little glasses from my Hobby Lobby haul. So if you saw my haul, I think it was the last video, that's what they were. That was the idea I had, and I added some glossy accents and put those on there. And I also, so you guys know, I took those glasses off, put them back on the backer, trimmed them with the backer on it because I want them to look like they have glass in them, and glued them on there. So if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.